I remember walking into that changing room and probably people looking at me thinking, oh, who's this young kid from Liverpool? But my first 5 games or so, I remember getting man of the match in a couple of the games and thinking, I belong at this level.
I happened to talk to Clint Dempsey yesterday, who was one of the first Americans to really make it in the Premier League as an Anfield player, as a forward. And I asked him this question, and it sort of prompts me to ask you, was there a moment when you sort of established yourself as a Premier League player where as a youth player who gets in the team, you play some minutes, maybe you go in the dressing room, people think that you're, the young kid who might make it. He said that the moment for him was that he scored a goal against Liverpool to keep Fulham in the Premier League in 2007, I believe. Then he went back in the dressing room and he felt people look at him as one of them, that he was a legit professional at this level. Do you have a moment like that in your own career where you were like, well, I'm legit now?
I think that it's a little bit different for me. I was a young academy graduate coming through at Liverpool and perhaps probably fighting for a place and finding it difficult with competition. I found it very difficult with the pressure of playing for Liverpool as well. Probably if you were to move the game, if I was to join the game now with the psychologists and the mental side of the game, I think I'd deal with things a lot differently and a lot better. Mine was when I moved to Blackburn. I went to Blackburn and suddenly I had a manager who bought me, who wanted me at the football club. And I remember walking into that changing room and probably people looking at me thinking, oh, who's this young kid from Liverpool? But my first 5 games or so, I remember getting man of the match in a couple of the games and thinking, I belong at this level. I know I can compete at this level. I knew it anyway at Liverpool, but I just wasn't getting those opportunities. But Liverpool was such a bigger club. And then I went to Blackburn and things just suddenly changed completely. And I remember one of the coaching staff, Mark Bowen, who was the assistant manager to Mark Hughes, and he just said, "We think you're the best left back in this Premier League. We think you're the best," and it just gave me so much confidence and belief. And I remember just thinking, "Yeah, I am." Now I probably wasn't, and because I know I had Ashley Cole in front of me, Wayne Bridge, I know I had excellent left backs, but I still believed that I was one of the best left backs within that league and I belonged in the Premier League. So, yeah, I think it's you do have moments. Trying to pinpoint them exactly is difficult. For Klimt to be able to do that away at Anfield, I can imagine why he's picked that moment.
Yeah, he said, he went back in the dressing room and he realized that, a lot of these guys that they're relegated, including him, they could have had a wage
Yeah,
deduction. They could have lost pay the next season playing the championship as the club tries to deal with that. He said staff at the club could have lost their jobs. They could have been made redundant due to relegation. And then you realize that once you contribute to the business in that way,
yeah,
sometimes that
absolutely.
is what makes the difference.